What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hands-On channel. As you guys know that follow the channel, we have chickens here on my property, and I look to expand that operation more and more. And so I'm constantly paying attention to what's going on in the chicken news, so to speak. And for the past 6 weeks or so, I've been seeing a lot of talk online in a lot of the forums and stuff like that are saying that people that are using a certain brand of chicken feed are seeing little or no production, egg production from their hens. And so I've been paying attention to this, and I've been seeing more and more reports of this, that people that are using this certain brand, and it's called Producer's Pride, are actually having real difficulty getting the same amount of eggs. So earlier today, I saw a headline over at the Gateway Pundit, and it kind of explains what may be going on. Tractor Supply chicken feed reportedly causing egg laying to stop. The board has ties to the WEF and Jeffrey Epstein. So if you don't know, the WEF, that's the World Economic Forum, and they're connected to the UN and the globalist agenda of the New World Order. So also Jeffrey Epstein. So the article goes on to say, online claims have emerged, corroborated by others, that the popular Producer's Pride chicken feed sold by the Tractor Supply chain has been recently altered, and that its new formulation is causing chickens to stop laying eggs. Some suggest a deliberate reduction in the amount of protein in the feed may be causing the reduction in egg production. So I don't know. Let me know. If you use Producer's Pride chicken feed from Tractor Supply, have you noticed that your hens are laying far fewer eggs or no eggs? So hens do lay fewer eggs in the wintertime due to reduced sunlight, and farmers have often used the light to expose hens to longer light so as to produce more egg laying. Yet farmer sources report that they are seeing much greater than normal reduction in egg production, to the point where many report that hens are laying 0 eggs instead of merely a reduced laying frequency. There is no word on whether this is a temporary or a permanent change among the Tractor Supply feed. This news comes as chicken and egg prices reach historic highs, caused in part by avian flu, but also as rampant inflation under the Biden regime causes prices to erratically jump among suppliers, subsequently among common consumer products. Egg prices have gone from $1.71 a dozen 18 months ago to an average of over $7 per dozen today. So it's telling you what the reasons are. We're going to explore this avian flu a little bit more. You know, I've had my questions about it. I haven't come out and made a direct video about it yet, but and I'm not saying that the avian flu is not a real thing or a real threat. We've known about the H1N1 strain for a long time, and it has been around for a long time, but this year it seems different. So anyway, I've had my doubts about it in combination with Biden coming on early on saying he wanted to get the United States off of meat, and also Klaus Schwab and others saying they want us to eat the bugs. It makes me raise an eyebrow and think that there may be something to this avian flu. I have no proof of that, but my gut is telling me not to trust the CDC and the FDA and all these other people that are behind this avian flu killing, because they're killing millions and millions of chickens. So the avian flu is hammering the U.S. poultry farmers, leaving experts to ask, what has changed? And that is a great question. What has changed? We've seen this before. It's been around forever. Why all of a sudden this year are we having to kill millions and millions of chickens? More than 40 million egg-laying hens have been culled in the U.S. alone, making it the worst outbreak on record. I mean, that's something that we should probably be talking about on the mainstream media, but they refuse to address these real-world problems that are going to affect people that have either buy chicken, buy eggs, or actually have backyard flocks. To me, it's pretty odd that all of this stuff is going on all at the same time, and it all has the same end goal and end result. People starving, millions and millions of people starving. So nearly 58 million birds from the commercial and backyard flocks have been wiped out in the U.S. since last February, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And this is an older article from several months ago, so I'm sure that number is probably more like 65 to 75 million birds that have been culled and killed for what? I mean, they're killing these birds that are showing no symptoms in many cases. I've heard several reports where suddenly the CDC will come up and they'll just say, oh, yep, we tested one. It's got bird flu, and they'll kill your entire flock. Whether you have millions or, half a dozen chickens in your backyard, look out. U.S. egg factory roasts alive 5.3 million chickens in avian flu cull, then fires almost every worker. So, yeah. Is this part of the Great Reset? That's what immediately my mind goes to. Or, Agenda 21, 2030, Build Back Better. Just basically making it harder for average people to be able to afford to eat in the future. So here's one that was pretty interesting. I think this was from the MSM. Conspiracy theorists flock to bird flu, spreading falsehoods, they're saying. So some versions claim the flu is fake, a hoax being used to justify reducing the supply of birds in an effort to drive up food prices, either to wreck the global economy or to force people into vegetarianism. I don't think it's that. They want to force people to eat the bugs. They've already said that's what they want to do. So one guy said, there is no bird flu outbreak, wrote one man on Reddit. It's just COVID for chickens. And, I could see where that sentiment would come from. I mean, you fool me once, shame on you. You fool me twice, shame on me. I think many of us feel awfully fooled, some more than others, especially the ones that made the ultimate sacrifice and ended up dying suddenly. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. Other posters insist the flu is real, but that it was genetically modified or engineered as a weapon, possibly intended to touch off a new round of COVID-style lockdowns. A version of the story popular in India posits that 5G cell towers are somehow to blame for the virus. And I can't say too much about that because there's specific things on YouTube's guidelines that forbid me from talking about 5G cell towers. Interesting. Certain aspects of, certain things that will happen related to the 5G cell towers and other things that we're not allowed to talk about. So, as evidence, many of those claiming that the flu is fake note that animal health authorities monitoring the outbreak are using some of the same technology used to test for COVID-19. They're testing the animals for bird flu with PCR tests. That should give you a clue as to what is going on. In truth, PCR tests have been used routinely in medicine, biology, and even law enforcement for decades. Their creator won a Nobel Prize in 1993. So what? I mean, what's the Nobel Prize anymore? I mean, to me, once they gave one to Obama and then he went out and drone strikes on all these people and even American citizens, and they allowed him to keep his Nobel Prize. What good? What does the Nobel Prize even mean anymore? It means nothing to me. Back to the PCR test. Remember during COVID when it was reported that they could simply turn up the sensitivity, for lack of a better word, on the PCR test depending on what the results they wanted were in that area? Could this be an attack? All of this stuff together. Tractor Supply. And I didn't even go into the stuff about they have board members at Tractor Supply that own the company. Their board. They have ties to the WEF, the World Economic Forum. So those people want us to eat the bugs. Does it make sense that Tractor Supply would do something intentionally to decrease or eliminate egg production among people that are trying to fend for themselves, people that are trying to be more self-reliant like myself? Very well could be. Could it be that the CDC are cranking up the PCR tests to get the results they want, especially in areas that are, predominantly conservative voting blocks? Could it be? Could it be? I can't answer that question. You'll have to ask yourself that question and answer it in your own mind. But in your own way. But to me, it looks very suspicious. When you combine all of this stuff together with the fact that they just got finished with their annual Davos meeting where they're trying to figure out how to control the world and make us eat the bugs and become transhumanists and all this other stuff in the name of environmentalism and live in a 15-minute city and on and on and on and on. with these people, these New World Order. I think it's pure evil. When I look at everything that's going on and their end goal, their end game, it seems to me that they have a problem with God's creation. They don't like humankind as it is, and they want to wipe us out and replace us with some other, altered form of being that's incorporated with, technology and things like that, like this, and we're able to be monitored everywhere we go, and what we consume and what our heart rate is when the people that are questioning us, and things like that. They want to know every single thing about you, and when they figure out how to crack the code and read your thoughts, they'll do that as well. And then they'll send you to prison for a thought you had. So, I don't know. I'm going off the deep end here. But the point is, there is a conspiracy. It's called the New World Order. It's been going on since like the 1940s at least, or 50s. Things changed dramatically after World War II. And I don't know if that's the source of all of this stuff. I'm not saying that, but the direction the United States was taking changed drastically after things like Operation Paperclip started happening and things like that, and Operation Mockingbird and MK Ultra and all these other things that came on after the end of World War II. And they always do these things in the name of either providing protection or safety or security or these kinds of things to the people. But in reality, they're using it against us. So I don't know. Anyway, you come to your own conclusions. I'm curious to what you think about all of this stuff. So please let me know down in the comments. What are your thoughts? Do you think Tractor Supply has done something intentionally to their food supply for, their chicken feed so that it will cut off egg production, thus driving up the prices and limiting the availability? Or is this just some, conspiracy theory that somebody's hatched up and it's just some coincidence? What do you think about this avian flu? Have the theories that I've posted, do they have any credit? Is it possible that the government could be this evil that they're doing things to cull chickens that are perfectly healthy? And another question I have, what happens to one of these chickens if you don't kill it? Let's say, because they come in all the time and they find these flocks of 10,000 birds, and they'll say, these 2 birds have the avian flu, so that means we have to cull the whole flock. Well, what happens if you just isolated those birds, didn't kill them, you just isolated them from the rest of the flock, and then tested again or whatever? And again, that begs the question, is the PCR test something that we should be relying on? Just because something has become the standard doesn't mean it's actually right. My wife and I talk about this all the time. They've got this thing, carbon dating. We like to watch a lot of these ancient archaeology shows and things like this. And we like to, learn new things about, people from the past, civilizations from the past. But one of the things that my wife and I both have a real hard time with is the carbon dating. There is no way to prove that it's right or wrong. And in many cases, when you do carbon dating in different locations, you get way different answers in the results. So I don't trust it. I don't think it's even close to being real, but it's in the scientific community, it's presented as if that justifies or as if that proves whatever they're trying to prove. They'll say, oh yeah, well, we got the carbon dating over here, and they just say it in such a way that you're supposed to believe that it's 100% accurate when it's not accurate. If you dig into it, you'll realize it's not accurate, just like the PCR tests weren't accurate. So I am glad that the lid is finally coming off of all of this COVID controversy and stuff like this that we've been going through for the past couple of years, but we're still limited on what we can talk about here on this platform because of the censorship. The globalist New World Order agenda is real. They're coming for everything that you hold dear. They're coming for your ability to be able to be self-reliant in your own suburb backyard. We're not talking about a large-scale farmer. We're talking about in your suburb backyard. And personally, I think a lot of the signs are pointing to the fact that Tractor Supply and their feed suppliers, Producers Pride, have done this intentionally. So, again, what do you do when the CDC comes a knocking? The federal government comes a knocking on your barn door at your chicken farm to kill your chickens. What are you going to do? That's your livelihood. I don't know, guys. I don't know, man. I just, I don't trust anything anymore. I don't trust anything. Unless I can prove it myself, I don't trust anything that I see on the mainstream media, especially nothing coming out of anyone related in any way to the Davos, WEF, New World Order, the Great Reset, Build Back Better, Agenda 21 2030, the plan to enslave humanity. I don't trust those people. No matter what it's about, I don't trust them, not one bit. No farther than I can throw Klaus Schwab's. So anyways, guys, I will not eat the bugs. I will fight the New World Order as long as I can stand. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me know what you think about all these so-called conspiracy theories. Oh, by the way, on the way out, if you don't know, the CIA weaponized the phrase conspiracy theorist back right after the Kennedy assassination, because they didn't like all these people questioning the Warren Commission and all the other things that the CIA was involved in at the time. So anyhow, I appreciate you tuning in. Let me know what you think about all this stuff. Hit me up in the comments. I stand for liberty. I hope you do too.